Hey, it is Suzi Quatro. I can't believe I am talking to and looking at the legacy, the rocker, the most amazing woman in rock, Suzi Quatro. My 10-year-old self is basically shitting his pants right now. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah, I've had a except for the lockdown, which we're off in, but I've had a really good few years. Very productive. You know, and I mean, I had the No Control album out last year, which everybody went nuts over. That I wrote with my son. Then the documentary came out, and everybody in America rediscovered me. I mean, the reviews were ridiculous. It sat at the top of the Amazon charts forever. Everybody loving the honesty of it, which it was. Then I had 95 gigs booked for this year. My son had a lot with another band, and then lockdown happened. So we decided, I said to him, you're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere. There's a studio out back, I've got the patio here. Let's write the next album, because the option was taken up. So we wouldn't have had time otherwise, that's the truth. And we wrote the next album, one of the tracks being, of course, what I'm promoting right now, the Christmas single, which I just had a girl on the phone at a station here in UK, and she said she cried all the way through it.
Wow. Well, the video is beautiful. That's what's I think so touching. I mean, the song itself is amazing, but then you watch the video and you get this insight to your
Yes,
family, and
yeah.
you read the story, of course, that your son wrote the song, and you hear it and you're like, what is that? What is that? And now we have this amazing Christmas song, My Heart and Soul, I Need You Home for Christmas, and it's really great. I've had the opportunity to play it on my new music show a couple times already. I love Christmas songs, and it's really great to be able to support an artist like you, Susie, because for me, as a young man, I saw you on Happy Days as Leather Tuscadero, and that really wasn't
Great show.
the best
You and
representation of you, of what you really were. And I think I was a little too young to miss, Can the Can and that
Right.
era of your music, which of course I've been able to revisit and listen to. But I'm fascinated by the way that your career's been phenomenal, but America is like still discovering you. Like this documentary comes out and it really showcases what an independent artist you were, what a trailblazer you were, what artist you inspired. I mean, your legacy is incredible. What's it like now to revisit all of that and and kind of just sit back? I mean, you've got all this time to sit back and revisit these things you've done, and it's pretty phenomenal.
all this time, I don't have any time, even though I'm in lockdown. Um, it's been 56 years,
Yeah,
56 of me doing what I love doing and not losing 1 ounce of joy at doing it, and not being even this much ready to stop, not even being this much running out of things to say, not even being this much any less creative, not even being this much less energetic. Um, I'm blessed that I can do the job I love doing, and I've been allowed to do it for so many years. The documentary humbled me,
sure.
absolutely, to see your life up there and people coming here and you go, what? Jesus Christ. And I left it purposely. I also left it with warts and all. I,
Well,
sa- I said to the director, even though I have editing scissors, which is my life, I said, as long as something is honest and it's valid, I don't care if I want to crawl out of the theater, it stays in. And I stuck to that. And there were cringe moments where I would go, but they're the best moments in the film. They're the best moments.
they are. I love your sisters and some of the commentary from them about you. I love learning about Cradle, which was an amazing band, and to find out that you had kind of this doom heavy rock band, and then of course the Pleasure Seekers, which was very influential here in San Diego. There were big mod revivals all across the country, and so a bunch of women in music I know here in San Diego, they were inspired by the Pleasure Seekers, cover those songs. So I'm fascinated by you though, really sticking to your guns and not wanting to go down this kind of maybe negative political path. And you wanted to have fun with rock and roll. and that's what kind of inspired you to move on, and you go to London, and it really transformed you as an artist, as an independent artist. I mean, that move at that time, how scary was that for you to leave your sisters and leave your family that had been such a big support group, and now boom, you're on your own?
Um, I didn't ever care, and my sisters know that we've talked about it. I cared about being in a band. That was my main focus. From the first gig, put my bass on, played the same three chords, three songs we learned for the first show. I was home. I was home. I didn't care if it was girls or guys. That's the truth.
Right.
I never really did gender, and I still don't do it now. It was very important to my sister Patty. She had the dream of an all-girl band, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to play. It ended up being an all-girl band. We were a show band, Pleasure Seekers.
Right.
I was the main upfront person. I did 98% of the songs. Most of the time playing, sometimes not. I did a little bit of drums, a little bit of keys, much as what I do now. And then we turned into Cradle because we died, as the documentary says, we died at a festival because we were a show band. It was
Right.
all hip. And we decided to change the focus of the band. So we brought my little sister in. She became lead singer, and I took a back seat. So it was in this band, and we started to write all our material. This band I was in for 18 months only, and it gave me the opportunity to become really good on my bass because I wasn't doing all the upfront, so I could sit back, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it was this band with me at the back, only doing 2 songs, that Elektra Records saw me, saw the band. They offered me a solo contract. Mickey Most flew to Detroit with Jeff Beck to go to Motown, saw the band. He offered me a solo contract. So with my head, it was just a no-brainer. This was my shot. And I always knew I had the X factor because you do know it. Anybody that tells you they don't know it, they're lying because it's what keeps you going. That you know you got this little something, you feel it in you, you watch the way the audience watches you, and you know it's there. And that's what you nurture. You nurture that your whole career to be better and better and better. But to leave my family and my sisters, that was the hard part. And I had a lot of hurdles to overcome with that. It was a real emotional thing. And it took me maybe even till the documentary came out to start really enjoying my success, you know, because it leaves you with a real, oh God, you know, you can't help it. And it's always difficult when one gets plucked out from a family unit, you know, that's never going to be easy for anybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you deserve everything. I mean, it's amazing that your story includes happy days, which is kind of silly, and that I didn't realize there was an opportunity for you to have your own show back then. It just shows what a well-rounded talent you are. I mean, you've even done theater, you do radio, you're a writer, you're an actor. It's just you're the full package, Suzi Quatro. It's really cool to learn more about you because watching you in the leather jumpsuits and the little hand move that I always admired. Was that something that you came up with, or that the show came up with? Because now with COVID, that's a great little way to greet friends.
Yeah, we needed it. They call it in the profession a bit of business, and we needed something, so we tried to find something. I think Pinky had something like this or something. I don't know.
Right.
But as far as being all rounder, I just wanted to go back on that. My only excuse is I am a real bona fide artiste.
Sure.
And therefore, whatever opportunity presents itself, if I think I can do it, and it's in the entertainment ball of wax, I'll do it. I've had 4 books out now.
Yeah.
You know, I've written a musical. I've been on the West End. I've been on radio for 15 years. It's all, to me, the same thing. I'm an artist.
Right.
I'm an artist.
But you're a rock and roller.
Don't make me choose. Yeah, don't make me choose. Well, I would choose my rock and roll stage, I think.
I just look back at those and those performances and hearing the songs and the band, and looking at it as because I kind of missed it at the time. I was too young, but to me in my head it's all part of the glam rock thing. But in a way, you kind of stood out separate. I mean, it's not like the band was wearing high heels and doing that whole thing, even though it was still kind of
rock and roll.
Slave.
No, we were rock and roll. We weren't glam at all. We weren't glam at all. It was only because I started having hits in that period
Right.
that I got lumped into that. Even Mike Chapman says it on the video. You know, I was always rock and roll, not glam, but they called it that era. So
Sure, sure. Well, they're epic and timeless songs, and obviously, you have you toured the States in the last 10, 15 years, or
I did Canada in 2019. I did this big what was it called, River Creek Casino in Edmonton. I sold it out 2 nights, 5,000 each night. Amazing.
sure,
Um, but I stopped touring when I got pregnant the first time, and then other things just happened. I started doing musicals, and this I never got back. But this documentary now has reawakened people in America to me. So I'm hoping to do some gigs there this year. I have to get back there and tour again. Everybody wants me to, and I want to.
sure. Do you have any memories of ever playing San Diego or
Yeah, sure.
yeah?
Many times. Yes, I toured America 74, 2 times in 74, 75, 76, 77. With the 75s was with the Welcome to Manhattan, which are the 85 shows. 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. And then when I got pregnant in 82, then I didn't come back again. So that was a long time ago. I've been back for awards and everything. And, you know, I've been back to America a lot. I go at least once a year. And I've done some radio shows from there. And I've been to Detroit, Michigan Hall of Fame. I got an award in Texas. I got the Icon Award and the She Rocks in January in LA. So I've been back and forth. And of course, like I said, the documentary has now put me on a different level again, which is great.
And people can check that out. It is an amazing rock and roll story. The one thing I don't see any rock and roll debauchery in your story. I mean, you're hanging out with those guys back then, and there were some of them notorious partiers. But I don't know if are there any stories of Suzi Quatro, you know, drunk in a hallway, or any of these. I mean, it's not in the movie. There's a reference to you drinking beer, I believe. But
that was from Alice. That was from Alice. I was not a sex, drugs, and you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Sure.
I was raised in a musical family, and my dad instilled in me that this is a profession. So I never felt the need to carry the craziness off the stage. Not to say I haven't been drunk and carried home by the road crew, and not to say I haven't had a room wreck or two. And when I wreck a room, I do it properly.
Nice.
But basically, it's not really my style.
Sure.
I'm a pretty normal person who loves my rock and roll, you know.
It's cool that you're making music with your family again. I mean, you did it with your sisters. Now you're doing it with your son. Does he have his own band too?
He works with other bands as a guitar tech. He keeps wanting to join mine, but I keep saying, no, you're very talented. You're writing these great songs. Find a group for you. I don't want him to be, you know, coming in as my guitar player. He's too good for that. My daughter also is a fabulous singer, but she's not rock and roll. She's more like Ella Fitzgerald. She's got that old-fashioned thing in her, you know.
Cool.
So I hope she's going to make an album. But yeah, I've never not worked with my family, have I? I even married my guitar player, you know. My ex-husband was my guitar player, so and that's who I had my 2 kids with. Yeah, it's all good. I'm looking forward to the future. I'm busy promoting the hell out of this single. I've been doing from 9 till 8 o'clock at night like this.
Yeah.
Now after you, I'm in my pajamas and I'm having my glass of wine.
You look beautiful. I mean, time.
No, I'm not in them now, but I will be.
Been good to you. Yeah, you married Len, and you know, that's amazing. You got 2 great kids, and you guys are making music. Did I read that your drummer from the original band just passed, Dave Neal?
I'm going to the funeral on the 11th. Oh, okay. Long story short, he left the band in the mid 80s, I think. Yeah, mid 80s, because his marriage was suffering, and he said, I need to try to save my marriage. So he left the band, and I loved him like a brother. I mean, I really loved him. I loved him so much I thought about stopping the business. That's crazy for me to say. It's just not me. But I felt such a loss from him. Anyway, I had another drummer for a long time, and then I got another drummer. And we were doing a gig about 3 years ago in Switzerland, and my normal drummer couldn't do it. So I was either going to use the second guy after Dave or Dave, trying to decide between the 2 of them. And Dave Neal called me, and he just said, Suzi, you have to let me do this. You have to. I said, okay, Dave. So he practiced, really took it serious. Came in this big, 5,000 people in Switzerland, in Zurich, and he did a fabulous job. All the singles sounded original because he was the drummer. So
Yeah.
everything was exactly beautiful. Anyway, he goes home, high as a kite that he did this gig with me again. And the day after he was home, he was sitting in his chair watching TV, and he slid down, fell on the ground, and he had a serious stroke.
Oh.
And from that point on, he never got out of that wheelchair.
Oh
I'm
man.
cutting a long story short. And
Yeah.
I went to see him many, many times, felt really bad because I thought, God, I should have taken the other drummer. I felt responsible. So,
Right.
but one of the last, which is stupid, I know, but you do think that way. So the
Sure.
last time I went to see him, before I saw him at the premiere for the documentary, he was in the front row in his wheelchair. Oh, bless him. But the last time I saw him at his assisted flat, I used to drive down there maybe 7 or 8 times, 6-hour journey, but he was like my brother. And we were talking, and I said, Dave, I need to know something for my peace of mind. He said, what? I said, did that gig with me cause your stroke? And he said, he went real quiet, but I needed to know.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it didn't cause it, but I don't think it helped it.
Oh.
So in other words, it was probably going to happen anyway,
Sure,
but he got that excited. Maybe, that just doesn't come from a gig. So it was on the cards, but at least he made me feel a little bit better. And his sister wrote to me and said, don't even think like that. He had the time of his life, and he was so glad he played one more gig with you,
Yeah.
So I have to let that go, but you do feel like that. It's a natural human thing,
That's an amazing story. Well, I'm sure he, looking down, you gave him that last chance. That's really touching. That's pretty phenomenal. You should be. I'm getting a little emotional right now. Sorry. I gotta hold it on. All right. Let's see. Couple quick questions. Let's see. Crazy, you are Sherilyn Finn's aunt.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Sherilyn Finn. My friend Zachary Good wants to know if you remember him from Castle Mare Drive in the Pacific Palisades. Did you used to live on Castle Mare Drive in the Pacific Palisades? That's probably a weird question, but
I don't think so. We had a couple of houses in the Hollywood Hills while I was doing Happy Days and recording. I don't think I ever lived there. I don't remember that. Sorry.
That's quite all right. How about Ronnie Lee? Ronnie Lee here in
I know Ronnie Lee. Yeah, sure.
So that's what I love. You talk about 6 degrees of separation. Ronnie Lee's a friend of mine. She's a friend of yours. So
there you go. Yeah.
right there.
She was at the She-Box. She was at She-Box Festival. She came up and said hi, and we had a little drink at the table. Nice girl.
She is. It's awesome. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh, I found this really interesting. And there was another actress mentioned, but there now is talk of a biopic, and Miley Cyrus or Billie Eilish potentially could play Suzi Quatro.
But I really fancy somebody who I think might be a little bit too old, but I really want her with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I can see her playing me.
All right, you heard it here. Let's see. We've got the autobiographies out there, the movie, of course, your biggest hit in America. Do you still talk? Is Chris Norman still around, stumbling in?
He left Smokey, and he does solo gigs and all that. We never did anything else together again, but we made one great record. It was a great record.
And it's funny. Just this past week, I watched the Go-Go's documentary first, which it really documented how much cocaine they did. Actually, that wasn't in your documentary, of course, but what was cool is
I didn't do it.
Kathy Valentine was in both of them, because Kathy Valentine was inspired by you, and it's amazing to hear about how much you meant to Joan Jett. How often do you talk to Joan Jett?
Well, she just actually sent me a gift in the mail. I knew her in the young days, and we lost touch for a while, and now we're in touch again. All these girls, when I saw them on the screen, I just went, geez, because I didn't know I was doing it. I was just doing what I do. Honestly, it was just sticking to me. I don't do gender.
Right.
So I didn't know this was happening. I always say to everybody that asks me, I kicked down the door because I didn't see the door.
Well, it's a great.
And that's my name.
I don't know what I was seeing when I was 10, 11 years old watching Happy Days and seeing.
You were just seeing me.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it kind of opened my eyes as a young person to see this rockin' confident woman up there. And,
Yes, but not doing gender. I didn't wear the female card.
right. Love those
I
leather pantsuits.
still don't wear it now.
How many leather pantsuits do you have still to this day?
Oh God, who knows? I got some up in my ego room. I got loads of that I wear on stage. There's some dotted around at museums and everything, and you know. Well, so I'm gonna have to go in about 5 minutes. Is that okay?
No, perfect. I just want to wrap it up. You've changed the face of rock and roll. You've done so much for us and for people, still inspiring bands today, that sound that you're famous for at that time period. But the new song is beautiful. It sounds like a Motown hit.
Thank you.
It's very touching.
It is Motown.
Yeah.
It is. It brought out my Motown. I heard the track coming out of the studio out of the open door. No vocals, of course. And I went, and I ran in, you know, and I said to Richard, I cut my brain off. I said, put the track on now. That track you were just, headphones, Mike, and the first 4 lines came flying out without thinking about it.
Wow.
So
awesome.
We wrote that. We wrote a beautiful song.
You did. And your story is beautiful. And I can't wait to see the biopic. And I believe you just announced a big show in 2022.
Yes, we're doing the Royal Albert Hall, April the 20th. So the Queen of Rock and Roll is playing the Royal Albert Hall.
It's amazing. You are the Queen of Rock and Roll. SuziQuatro.com and the new song, My Heart and Soul, I Need You Home for Christmas. Suzi, thank you so much.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Bye.